All right, how y'all doing? And welcome once again to the Average Missionary. That's me, and hopefully you as well. We are here once again, as always, to prepare to share. That's what we do. We're looking for ways to communicate the message and to help people to understand that message, whether we're encouraging one another as believers or we're speaking to those who have not yet come to the faith, to the knowledge of the truth, we would say. We want to be able to help with that. So that's what this is all about. Now, what I'd like to do is pick up, as some of you have been following along, and since we've come back on and we started off with this direction that we're taking, where we're going to see the three categories. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, look at that on the previous video episode, and you'll see where we're coming from. What we're going to do is take a specific challenge to the truth, to the faith. And I want you to understand that I might put it out in a certain way, but there could be many different ways that these specific objections can be related or spoken. But you'll recognize it when you hear it. So I'm going to give you this one, very specific. You may have dealt with this many times before, or maybe not yet, but it's the one that the challenge that comes out sort of as, how come your religion has got to be the one true religion? Ever hear that? Now, you might, like I say, you might hear it in many different ways. It could be, well, why does what you're saying have to be the truth, or whatever? But when it comes out from the standpoint of religion, well, how come Christianity has got to be the only way? Or what about all the other people who don't believe what you believe? I mean, are they all going to hell? Or what you have to see and just listen for is when somebody is speaking about the problem of exclusivity, because that's what people have a problem with, quite frankly, especially today in our society. People have a problem with anyone who thinks that they have the exclusive belief or truth on anything. It's like we've said probably many times before, it's very popular nowadays for everyone to have a personal truth. Well, that's your truth. I'm glad that's working for you. This is my truth. This is working for me. Peace. Okay. So it's like that's where people want to be. They want to be in that place where whatever they believe to be true is true for them, whatever anyone else says. It's like their old saying, please don't confuse me with the facts. Okay. So that's what we want to deal with here. The specific challenge as to why your religion or Christianity, whatever they believe that to be, we've spoken about that in previous episodes as well. When people talk about you being a Christian or Christianity, we've spoken about the fact that you don't want to defend Christianity or you being a Christian because you don't know where somebody's coming from when they use those words. We know what those words mean, but everybody's not saying the same thing when they use them. So before I cop to anything, I want to know what you mean when you say Christianity. So, you might have to deal with that issue, but ultimately, we want to go deeper. And this is, as we were talking about in the last episode, a metaphysical issue. The metaphysical issue, the issue of reality, the issue of being, the issue of existence, the issue of what is real. And so when someone has that challenge, well, why does your religion have to be the only religion that's right? Well, how come Christianity is the only one that's correct? What about all the other religions And you might even hear someone say something like, well, all religions basically lead to the same place. And that's a pretty bold statement, whether the person making it understands that or not, because that's a statement that something that all the rest of these folks don't know. you, you're the one that knows what the Jew doesn't know, the Christian doesn't know, the Muslim doesn't know, the Buddhist doesn't know, the Hindu doesn't know. I mean, we all think that we know certain things, but you're the one that knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that all of us are just going up different sides of the mountain to the same peak. And that's because you're the guy that's standing at the top of the mountain looking down on all of us scratching our way up. You're the great guru we've all been looking for. We just didn't know it. All right, let me get down off of that. I don't think I'd present it that way to someone because we try to present in a way that doesn't, do that. But there may be times when you might need to come at it like that. But we're not talking about that here. Let's just back it down here to what's really at issue. And this is, as we said, a metaphysical issue. It's an issue about reality. When someone says, well, why does your religion, why does Christianity have to be the only truth? I mean, why does that have to be the only religion? What about all the other religions? Why is yours, there's the question of exclusivity, why does yours have to be the one that's right? And what I like to do is take it right to the metaphysical foundation. Well, hey, let's not even talk about religion at this point, because what's most important is truth. And if you'll allow me, yes, you are absolutely correct. There are religions that say this, there's religions that say that, and there's religions that contradict each other, because one says it's this way and the other says, no, it's not. So, yeah, we got all that. The question is, and I hope you'd agree with me on this, the question is not which religion is right and which one is wrong. What we're dealing with is a question of what's true. What's the truth? And if we are looking for the truth about our existence, how it came about, what it's all about, those kind of ultimate truths, if we can find any evidence for the truth of our existence, well, then you can find the religion, if you will, that aligns with that truth. And you can say, okay, so it won't be about religion. It's really about truth. Yeah, but why does your truth have to be the one? Well, see, again, we're not talking about my truth or yours or anybody else's, because if something is true, it really doesn't matter what a person believes the truth is, because their belief is either correct, which means it either lines up with the truth, or it's incorrect. Let me give you an example, if you don't mind. Now, I hope I don't stir up any problems here with this example. But the O.J. Simpson trial. Does anybody remember that? O.J. Simpson? He was, football player, or former football player, great football player, and an actor afterwards. And he was accused of murdering his ex-wife and her presumed boyfriend. And it was a long trial, and trial went on, I think, for months. It was something. Every day it was on television, the whole trial from beginning to end. But here's the thing. Ask any group of people, did OJ do it? And I know right now that some of you listening to me right now are saying, yeah, he did. Absolutely, he did. And there's others who are saying, no, he didn't. No, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. They accused him of doing it, but he didn't do it. And then there's some amongst you who will say, well, I'm not sure. I think he did it, but I'm not sure. So there'll be beliefs. And then, of course, remember, he had a jury, and the jury acquitted him. The jury said not guilty. And I don't know why anyone said not guilty unless they gave interviews, which I didn't listen to any. But I would assume that after hearing all that they heard and going through all the evidence and everything, I would assume that they went back and they talked it over and went through all of that deliberation and came back with a verdict that they believed was accurate. Now, some people will say, nah, they didn't. Most of the jury was black and he was black, so they just wanted to get him off. And it's like, okay, well, if you want to believe that, that's fine. Unless one of them or several of them or most of them actually said that after the trial, I wouldn't conclude what was in somebody's heart and mind. But you're welcome to your opinion on that. The thing is, people have beliefs. People were divided right down the middle when that verdict came out. There were people that cheered, and there were other people that hung their heads and said, oh, unbelievable. Here's the fact. He either did it or he did not. This isn't a matter of belief when it comes to the metaphysics of it. The fact of the matter is, those two people were murdered by someone. They didn't do each other. And it happened either by O.J. Simpson's hand or not. And the only thing that you can do is say why you believe one way or the other. But the fact is, someone is going to be correct and someone is going to be incorrect, or, dare I say the word in our culture today, wrong. Because there's a truth. And this belief over here is one, this belief over here is another. Who's to say that your belief is correct and my belief isn't? Well, the truth is the truth. Now, I may not have the proof, but it's still the truth if it's the truth. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. We are at a place where we have to take the conversation to a metaphysical level, a foundational level, and stop talking about religion and beliefs and, yeah, well, Christians have done this, and yeah, well, Muslims, they believe this and they do this and that and so on and so forth. I mean, there might be a place for those kind of conversations. But when somebody hits on something that you can address on a metaphysical level to get the conversation to start from the basic and then build from there, that's where we want to go if we can. I'm not saying it'll always be as easy as what I just put out, but it is as simple as what I just put out. There's a truth. That we do exist. The universe exists. Human beings exists. And there is a truth as to how we came to be. Now, you may be getting your foundation from the scientist who says it's by evolutionary processes over millions of years. You may be getting your foundation from the preacher who says it was by a supernatural being who we call God. You may be getting it from some philosopher who says it's just a principle of the universe that has always existed and continues to bring us in and out of existence in some kind of a karma or whatever somebody comes up with. You're getting it from somewhere. And the question is, does the evidence lend credibility to your belief. And if there's evidence, then that's what we examine. And the fact is, either there is a God or there isn't, and either that God is the God that the Bible describes or it's not. And what I want to show you is that when you look at the evidence, it's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that reports things that the evidence shows to be true. So what we're looking at here is not an issue of religion. We're looking at an issue of truth, of reality. And then we may slip into that epistemological area, which is how we know what is true. How do we discover what is true? It's something that people have heard me say a lot of times in Bible study. And that is, I didn't invent it, I just present it. Because in reality, truth is not invented. Truth is discovered, if it's true at all. You can't make something be true just because you believe it to be true, no matter how passionate you may be. You discover the truth. And if you discover the truth, it was true before you came, and it'll be true when you're gone. So it has nothing to do with my religion. If my religion has any truth at all, it's because it's following the evidence, not because it's creating the evidence. So that's where we want to go. And I want you to see here, so the person who has the challenge of exclusivity against you, well, why does your religion have to be the only one? Or they may say it flippantly, or they may be very respectful and say, I just don't understand why do you think Christianity, with all the different religions and beliefs on the planet, why do you think Christianity, your Christian beliefs, are the only ones that are absolutely true? Why do you think you're the only ones that are right? I don't get that. Well, I want you to understand that I don't look at it, and I don't think it's really that helpful. I hope you would agree with me on this. I don't think it's really that helpful to talk about religion from the standpoint of, picking and choosing a religion or whatever. I think what we're really looking at is what is the truth about our existence and the ultimate questions surrounding our existence. That's the issue, because no matter what Christianity says or Islam says or Buddhism says or anyone else or atheists, no matter what anyone says they believe, it's just like a jury on a trial. You got to present evidence. And the evidence needs to speak for itself as to what the truth is. And if a person's religion, if you want to put it that way, coincides with the evidence of reality, then exclusivity is not a problem. Because the fact is, if something is true, whoever believes it is correct. And whoever believes something else, no matter how passionate they may be about it, is incorrect. So here's my question. Are you willing to walk with me on what I see as the evidence of the truth, and then make a decision on religion? So you see where we go with that. And we could tease that out more, I guess, but I think that would basically do it. That specific challenge, the challenge of exclusivity, which is such a problem for people today, does not have to be something that shakes us and causes us to go run in a corner because we don't want to seem as though we're saying, oh, everybody's wrong, especially in this culture today. No, we don't have to say that. We don't have to say everybody's wrong. We don't have to say I'm the only one right. We don't do any of that. Like I say, I don't own the truth. I discover it. So it's not my truth, because that's not important. What's important is what is the truth. And if we're talking about truth, we're not talking about religion. We're talking about reality. All right, so hopefully that's helpful to you. That was one specific that dealt with the metaphysical situation that we go to immediately. Like I said, also we'll talk about the epistemological, which is understanding, and the ethics, of course. But that's one that can be at least handled from the very beginning to continue the conversation by getting away from, like we said, we're facilitating people's belief by removing the obstacles to unbelief. And one of the big obstacles is when people start talking about the exclusivity of religion. No, let's talk about the exclusivity of truth. And that way we can start talking about the reasons to believe. All right, hopefully that was a blessing for you. And I want to pick up with another exclusive challenge that may come against us when we're trying to present the truth. Really, it's not coming against us, it's coming against God's word. And we are here to be missionaries that defend the truth for the glory of God. All right, I'll see you again, God willing. God bless you as you go.